January 4th, 2022. Still getting used to that 2022. I don't know about you, but yeah, 2022. A couple of quick things before we get into the daily financial news. Let's congratulate some people for getting their first or next deal. Folks, we are still doing this contest. We're still going to do something crazy like dye my hair purple. Going to cut a hopefully really big check to a food bank. This is all when we get to 500. So let's congratulate Isaac for getting a deal and congratulate Rodrigo and Rodrigo. Rodrigo looks like he got a couple of deals actually in Brazil most recently, so we look forward to hearing about that. I don't know about you, but I do look forward to interviewing Rodrigo and his wife. We have been in communication. He's been getting several deals over the last 4 or 5 months, so hopefully we can interview him, interview his wife, and see what's going on in their family because they're crushing it. So I look forward to hopefully getting the opportunity to speak with both of them. When we look at the daily financial news from this morning, a couple of things jump out at me. First and foremost, the 10-year note is really moving. The 10-year note we talked about yesterday, I think we highlighted it. It was up to 1.58. This morning, I haven't looked in the last half hour or so, but it is already up to 1.67. The 10-year note will roll over to the 30-year mortgage, and thus kind of what I called for is happening, right? The 30-year mortgage is going to slowly increase. That is going to hurt affordability. It is going to have the real estate slow down, really take on. And yes, it's also going to force some people off the sidelines, right? Again, mom and dad buying a home, they are going to say, hey, we missed the bottom. Let's take action now. So it's as long as it moves slowly, and I'm not really here to tell you the last 2 days have really been all that slow, but it is perhaps just making up for what didn't happen in December. Don't know if you saw this, but it looks like all the news media is continually trying to scare us. They're talking about 1 million cases, nearly 1.1 million cases. Frankly, we are having a messaging problem. Cases are not the thing to talk about. In fact, basically what you're seeing at least in my opinion, what you're seeing in South Africa is proof that this thing is highly contagious, will spike and burn itself out quickly. But hopefully, knock on wood, whatever you choose to do, really could be the end of this thing. It could blow through kind of the community, and we could finally move on from this. So in reality, this new tweak, this new variant could actually be I don't know, is it hard to say it could be good news? For those that catch it and are hurt by it, obviously not. But yeah, it's possible this could be the end, the last big ta-da, and we can finally move on as a world together. So knock on wood, hopefully that happens. It's obviously really impacting airlines. I don't know if you saw this, but yeah, airlines have really been hit hard by this. Schools are once again hit hard by this. Apparently more schools are going virtual again. Folks, we are really hurting our kids, in my opinion. I can't imagine, just the relationship and the stuff that kids do, having to go virtual and then back and then this and that. It's, I'm sure it's stressful, depression. I'm sure it's not good for the parents out there that have school-age kids. I am sorry. Have to imagine that is rough. I feel for you. Hopefully this thing gets behind us and we can go on about being just normal, whatever normal is again. Looks like Joe Manchin is once again talking about Build Back Better. I told you this was coming. Washington is never done spending money. They will have to tweak it, tailor it to something that he can stomach. But it looks like he's talking again. So some of us had thought that, I don't know, what is it, $1.7 trillion wasn't going to happen. Something's going to happen. Washington, D.C. loves to spend our money. It's not theirs. It's our money. So, yeah, I fully expect something to come out. We'll see where it is targeted. Ford is having a good time with their EV vehicles. They're planning to double the production of their F-150 Lightning. Forgive me, I didn't catch who just left that comment. Hope your wife heals quickly, gets out of the hospital. Again, obviously, we are all, we don't want to see anybody be hurt, hospitalized, anything like that. So, you know, I don't know what to say. Feel better, heal fast, get out of the hospital. We're thinking about you from the one rental at a time community. Again, Ford's planning to double the EV vehicles. The one question I have, again, haven't really looked into this, but it seems to me that EV vehicles are taking off, probably exceeding expectations from lots of people. What the hell are batteries made out of? I'm going to guess that batteries use some commodities that maybe we don't talk about a lot. And I'm going to guess that that there's going to be a constraint on those batteries, and at some point you can't make EV vehicles if you don't have batteries. So, yeah, that is what I am seeing. So, just curious what you guys are seeing there. But yeah, I have to look into that. I don't know what batteries are made of. Looks like China is really pushing their digital yuan. I don't know if you saw this, but this is their attempt. They just released a wallet app. So yes, looks like somebody says cobalt and lithium is what batteries are made of. I had no idea. I'm going to guess that cobalt and lithium are not the easiest things to find, but I will do some research. But yeah, we are eventually going to run in constraints of commodities, I would guess, but we shall see. So again, China is pushing their digital wallet or digital yuan. We'll have to follow this as it goes forward. It's just a test app now, but something to watch. Apple became the first $3 trillion company yesterday, and I think I checked this morning. They still hold that $3 trillion. I think it was 9 months ago, might even 15 months ago, we were talking about companies being 1 trillion companies. Now we have 3 trillion companies. That's just crazy. I'm starting to see where I think price controls could come in. Remember, George Gammon and I agreed. We both pointed at price controls being the problem. The only difference is George talked about them over the weekend, and I talked about them 6 months ago. This is where the administration goes off the rails, in my opinion. If big underscore if they implement price controls. I think you're going to see price controls, if it came out in the short term, will probably be around meat, poultry, eggs, milk, things of that nature. Biden has put out some incentives to help small farmers and whatnot around cattle ranches and things of that nature. Apparently, 4 companies own 85% of the production, and he is focused on that. It would not shock me if in the next 90 days we saw price controls. You could I could envision a chessboard that says, hey, we're going to help the little guy, and oh, by the way, we're going to punish the big guys. That will be price controls. That will be not good. Simply said, not good. On top of that, we have Elizabeth Warren basically saying inflation is not real. Inflation is not real. It is simply big corporations gouging customers. Yeah, but that's what Elizabeth Warren believes. Again, don't talk about inflation. It's not our fault. It is something else. It's pretty crazy. Don't know if you saw this. I just picked it up. It looks like Walmart actually closed 60 of its stores to do what they called a deep cleaning and sanitization. I guess that makes sense. Retail establishments, lots of people coming and going. I don't know if they're going to do kind of like rolling store cleanings. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, it was in Texas and New Jersey. This is something they were doing. So it is very, very interesting. Don't know if you follow this gentleman, but he's the vice chairman of Blackstone, Byron Ween. Byron Ween has been putting out a forecast for 35 years. Actually, I think it's 37 years now, talking about the top 10 things that he thinks the market is missing that have a better than 50-50 chance. There were 3 of them that kind of caught my attention, and I think all 3 of them we have been talking about on this channel. So thank you, Byron, for watching my channel. I appreciate it. Of course, that is a joke. Number 1, the 10-year note. Byron sees the 10-year note ending the year at 2.75. As I shared earlier today, it's already up to 1.67, so it's not that far away. He sees 4 rate rises, not 3, not 2. 4 rate rises this year. And he sees PCE not settling down. He sees PCE averaging 4.5% for the year, which is much, much higher than what the Fed is saying. I think the Fed is saying they expect it to be 2.6. So very, very different. He expects the stock market overall to be flat, kind of a ho-hum year, not much. He says it's really hard for the stock market to have 4 good years in a row. 3 years ago, 29%. 2 years ago, 16%. Last year, 27%. He's like, I don't know what you want from the stock market, but having a 4th good year, probably not likely. He doesn't see any big hard crash or anything, but he did see a pretty flat market. And then finally, one that I'm very glad he put out there, he says, folks, this Omicron thing will be behind us. It'll burn out like a shooting star. And then we will start going back to the office. We will start going to concerts, theaters, ball games, things of that nature. And we will once again feel like we have our life back by the summertime. So shout out Byron for putting it out there. I appreciate that. Read a report from CoreLogic talking about which markets have the greatest likelihood of a price decline in 2022. Again, a price decline simply in their world, in their version, is -1%. It's not a crash. They were very poignant on this article. They talked about Springfield, Massachusetts. If you invest or live around there, I'd love to hear from you. I don't know what's going on in that market. And then they called out Modesto, California, which I thought was interesting. Again, they call these markets greater than 50% chance of having a decline. They basically ran too far, too fast. They are not calling for a crash, but they did say that they could see a negative price by the end of the year. So I thought that was interesting that somebody out there is calling for a price decline in some specific markets, which is absolutely possible. We've got to talk about Turkey again. The lira has lost 85% of its purchasing power compared to the dollar since 2012. I think it was about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, the president came out with an interesting plan to kind of build confidence. It doesn't look like it is working at any great scale. You can say that because of the rush to other currencies. They're not holding lira, they're holding dollars or euros or something else. And really what they need to do is what's happening in China. They've lost the faith of the individual citizens. The government can edict, they can make companies do this or that, but when it gets down to the individual level, when you lose the faith of the citizens, right, when you're sitting around the kitchen table having dinner with your family, right, you're squirreling away dollars, you're finding ways to get it done because you think that is best for your family. That's what needs to happen. You need to build the faith back up. This is happening in China, where they've lost faith in what is going on. Don't know if you saw this, but LA County has a rent freeze. I did not know this. LA County mayor signed a rent freeze that goes on 1 year post emergency order. This is for rent stabilized units. I did not know this. But yeah, landlords down in LA County that have rent stabilized units, you are in trouble. Your costs are going way, way up. And this is... if you can't raise rents, you could be in some big trouble. Habitat for Humanity just built a 3D home in Williamsburg, Virginia. I am glad to see this. One of the things I talked about in my expectations for 2022 is we would see advancements in either 3D printed homes, container homes, or tiny homes, right? We have a housing problem. So it looks like Habitat for Humanity could maybe help us leapfrog with 3D printed homes. Again, they are cheaper and faster. Again, this was in Williamsburg, Virginia. And then finally, kind of a warming story, Keanu Reeves. I don't know if you heard this, but Keanu Reeves donated 70% of his original Matrix money to cancer research. I did not know this. Apparently his sister at the time was going through something and he wanted to give back. And just in case you don't think he made any money, sometimes, first episodes you don't make a lot perhaps. He made $45 million from the original Matrix, and he gave away 31.5% to cancer research. So shout out Keanu Reeves for showing us how it's done. He doesn't typically put his names on things, so this was research they did and found his foundation that gave it away. So again, some good news for Keanu Reeves, showing us what it's like. Everything I've read about him has been pretty impressive. So give it up for Keanu Reeves. Leave a hand clap or whatever in the comments below, because that's pretty cool. So that's what I got for you today. It is Tuesday, January 4th, which means we should be talking with the Lumberjack and Omar. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Bye.